Seeing it's the Christmas holiday season, I figured we'd talk about the merriest thing of all, the Umbrella Corporation. I figured I'd do something a little bit different because I'm in such a Resident Evil mood that I would rank my favorite Resident Evil games. Quick disclaimer, for this video, I'm not going to be talking about the remake trilogy, the remake for 2, 3, and 4. The primary reasons why is while I have played them, I feel as though, especially with 4, a lot of this was not necessary, and also it's set in a different continuity, so I'm just not going to include it. But with that being said, let's just get down to it. At the bottom of my list is Resident Evil Code Veronica. This is not a bad game, but it's definitely the bottom of the barrel for me. And a good story. I enjoy playing as Claire and Chris. I enjoy seeing Wesker come back for the first time. But the gameplay was just lackluster for me. And there were weird difficulty spikes that I just didn't care for. Next on the list is going to be Resident Evil Revelations 1 and 2. I'm putting them side to side because they're both equal to me in terms of quality. They have good gameplay. I was really impressed by Revelations when it was originally on the 3DS. Decent stories and decent villains. Overall, nothing really to complain about this, other than maybe some pacing with Revelations 2. But for the most part, enjoyable. Just not top tier. Next is going to be Resident Evil 1, and the only remake on this list because it is part of the Prime continuity, Resident Evil Remake, which has been ported to everything under the sun, but originally for the GameCube. I love this game. In terms of a remake, it does everything a remake should do. I think this and Pokemon Fire Red, Leaf Green are two of the best remakes out of any remakes in any games in any series. However, I had one problem with the Resident Evil Remake. My first Resident Evil game was Resident Evil 4, so playing that and then going back to this, the tank controls and the maze-like backtracking threw me off of it. But I love this game regardless. So this might piss some people off, but I have both Resident Evil The Umbrella Chronicles and the Dark Side Chronicles next. These are the two rail shooters, and some people don't even really have these in their list at all, but I enjoy rail shooters, and more importantly, I think these two games did a very good job at blending together the stories of the protagonists from their respective games. Like in this, Claire and Leon were always together, and Chris and Jill were always together in their specific games rather than having separate stories. And of course, we had the special Leon Krauser story and the special Wesker story that added to the canon. I enjoyed them. I know they're not everyone's cup of teas, but they're on my list. Another entry that is going to rub people the wrong way, Resident Evil 0. This is kind of like, I don't know, a controversial game. Some people love it. Some people hate it. I dug Resident Evil 0. I enjoyed the two characters switching back and forth. I enjoyed dropping the items and having to know where they are to get them back rather than using the box. I thought the bosses were good. I thought the adding to the lore was nice. The only thing that I didn't care for is the weird continuity that poor Rebecca goes through this traumatic experience fighting these proto-tyrants and giant bats and all this stuff. And then in Resident Evil 1, she seems like a dumbass. She's never experienced zombie horrors, even though she just did the night beforehand. But overall, I dig Resident Evil 0. I might be the only person in the world that puts it this high up, but I dig it. Next is going to be Resident Evil 5. There is no game in this series that does one step forward, one step back, quite like Resident Evil 5 for me. This game, good stuff, right? I love Sheva. I wish she had more appearances in the series. This is the best of Wesker, whether it be the presentation, the voice acting, the cutscenes, amazing. The gameplay is really fun. I enjoy the co-op that has happened with it. But on the flip side, it's a very easy game compared to the other Resident Evils. It is very action heavy, which is fine with me. I don't put that as a negative, but I didn't feel the horror aspect. They killed Wesker at the end, which is the biggest mark against it. And this is my least favorite Chris portrayal. I feel like his portrayals in later games, especially with Resident Evil 6 and later with 8, were better. But this is a mixed bag, but I enjoy it. I go back and replay it, but it is the mixed bag of Resident Evil for me. Next is Resident Evil 3. I love this game. I think of the tank control era games, this is the most polished. This is the most well done in terms of the gameplay. And I really enjoyed Nemesis as a concept. I thought the story was kind of lackluster, but besides that, je ne sais quoi. Next is Resident Evil 6. And I might be one of the only people to ever say this, but I really liked Resident Evil 6. I thought it was a good game. Sure, it's guilty of leaning heavily into a lot of the Resident Evil Capcom kind of tropey stuff, but in terms of gameplay, it was so fluid. It felt so good. I enjoyed Leon's campaign tremendously. Mind you, I'm biased towards Leon. He's my favorite character. But I thought the Muller and Birkin campaign was good. This is one of my favorite portrayals of Chris. Like, I thought it was overall a beautiful looking game. I don't have many complaints about this game other than two things. One, too many stories. Even though they were all good in their own way, too many stories. And number two, this would have been a good time to like pass the torch to the next generation. But regardless, I enjoyed Resident Evil 6. I think it gets overhated way too much. Coming in next is going to be Resident Evil 8. And I might as well talk about Resident Evil 7, which I have a little bit higher. But they both got the same conversation. A return to form, to the horror. A return to the unsettlingness. Really great stories. And I really enjoyed the new characters they brought in while still sprinkling a little bit of the old lore. It felt like a soft, I don't want to say reboot, but a resetting, because obviously characters like Chris show up, but still, these games were amazing, and they're what Resident Evil needed at the time. I thoroughly enjoyed them. I think I like 7 a bit more than 8. I thought 8 was a lot easier, but, right, at the end of the day, they're both masterpieces. Coming in as second place is going to be Resident Evil 2. Of the tank control games, this is the best. The best story, the best levels, the best puzzles, the best everything. Like, Resident Evil 2 is so good. Although the remake is really good, I prefer the original more. Maybe I'm just an old man, because I do like the controls of the remake better. But you know how sometimes you play games and nostalgia hit and you just remember being in 1998, sitting down in front of your shitty TV that you got from your older brother with your Resident Evil 2, eating a greasy pizza and watching Monday Night Raw afterwards. Like, it does have that nostalgia factor, but gameplay wise, great tank controls, right? Improvement over the first. Great puzzles, great story, great everything. Is everything about 90s gaming done correct? And there is no surprise to anyone here. Resident Evil 4 is number one. This is a game that got me into the series, got me obsessed with the series. I don't throw this out there much, but to me, this is a perfect game. Like, that's why I don't think the remake was necessary, because it's like you're trying to change or fix or improve on perfection. There's very few games that I say are perfect that I will go and replay multiple times over. Like, Zelda Ocarina of Time, Skyward Sword also, in my opinion, right? Fire Red, Leaf Green, Heart Gold, Soul Silver. Like, there's some games that, like Mario Galaxy, Super Mario World, I could go on, that I consider perfect games. This is a perfect game, and like, it's one of my favorite games of all time. It is the perfect balance of everything in Resident Evil. From the action, to the horror, to the gameplay, to the puzzles, to everything in between. It revolutionized not only Resident Evil, but also gaming as an industry. So, there you go, number one. I'm sure none of you guys are surprised, but Resident Evil 4 is the best. Whether it's on the GameCube, PlayStation, which I never played on the PlayStation, but the Wii, the Switch 2. Fuck, it's so good. But that's my list. What's yours? Comment, stitch, duet. I want to know.